Hello, you guys. I'm Tony, your Trauma Cash president. I'm excited to connect with you and support the incredible work you do in the personal injury space. And also, I'm very proud to share that Trauma Cash sponsors PI Today podcast, helping bring valuable insights and medical education to our community. Don't forget to like, comment, follow, subscribe, and share this episode. Enjoy the podcast and see you guys next time.
Good morning. I'm your host, Dr. Nicholas Laloy. Welcome to another episode of PI Today's podcast. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for following us. We really appreciate everything you guys have done. We're getting our fan base up there, so thank you. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible, as usual. Today, I have a very special guest. These guys I've known for almost 2 decades. They are a staple in the PI industry. I think anybody who's been in PI knows these guests of mine. They've been kind enough to come on here and share their expertise and how they can make things better in the personal injury world for your cases, for doctors who practice, doctors who are expert witnesses. So without further ado, we have Vache and Vahe. Guys,
Thank you, Dr.
welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
I'm sure everybody that's seeing right now, you guys don't have diplopia. Diplopia is a condition that you see double. They're actually identical twins, so there's nothing wrong. Don't adjust your telephone or your Instagram or whatever it is. These guys are double trouble. And they have a company that is really been around doing wonderful work for attorneys and experts. A company called Motionlit. Guys, welcome and tell us a little bit about your background, your experience in PI, and how you've navigated all these years and progressed.
Thank you, Dr. Nick. It's a pleasure being here, first of all. You know, we're not twins. He's actually my older brother, 5 minutes older.
5 minutes.
and-
Good. Yeah. Yeah, you should punish him for going first. Why is he not talking first?
That's what I was going to say. I should go first.
There
So-
you go.
No, but
We were just talking about how the on Vach's iPhone, his phone is on face lock, but if I ever want to sneak in his phone, I can just, show my face and unlock his phone.
he uses my
So Apple
Face
hasn't figured
ID
that one out yet.
and unlocks my phone. It's crazy.
Well, we don't want
Apple's gotta
to.
work
We
on
don't
it.
even want to get into that about your
Maybe not.
dating lives, and
Maybe not.
this is
That's
a
a different-
this is a family
Maybe that's
program,
a different,
guys.
different discussion.
Yes,
Maybe
that-
different discussion.
Yes, the mischief. Let's not. We'll talk about it off the air. But tell us, what is Motionlit? What have you guys done? What are you guys are doing? Let us know.
So me and Vahe, we 20, maybe a little more, about 20 years ago, we started, producing films and doing day in the life videos for lawyers and their personal injury cases, where we would go in and document, the daily activities of a plaintiff who's been injured, in a car accident or whatever, however they've been injured, and document the injuries to show the jury what this client is going through on a day-to-day basis. And we slowly started to dip into, with our film background, we slowly started to introduce like deposition video and interviewing the family members, going beyond that, the day in the life video, where yeah, the day in the life video, we show how the clients, very limited in moving around and can't get around the same as before. But slowly we started to talk to the family members and their coworkers and just the people around them who love them and care about them. And there was so much story there, that you can't exactly tell in a day in a life video unless you start interviewing them and putting them on video, on camera, in a casual interview style, and talking to them about stories, about how this person used to be, and how life has changed, and their challenges, the challenges they've been through and all that. And really, that became very popular very, very quickly. And I'm talking like this was when Brian Panish was still at Greenboy. This is pre, literally 2020.
Steve
Yeah,
Blackman,
Long time ago.
Brown Green, Girardi and Amy Solomon, and
Long
James
time ago.
Fox. And
Sure.
so it was a very new concept. Plaintiff lawyers were like, what, how do we use this? When can we use it? What do we do? Well, and we started calling them. And so we put these interviews together, and put together a 5 to 10 minute video presentation where we were able to send that off to the insurance adjusters or to the other side to show them what the case is about. Yeah, these are the physical injuries, and then but take a look at this other aspect. You know, um, uh, where we're drumming up the damages, talking about the invisible injuries, and through real life stories, bringing out more value, and what the families actually lost. A lot of times it's like the rock of the family and the breadwinner, and um, these topics, these aspects of life, where just by showing somebody's injury, you don't necessarily see it. You have to talk to the family. You have to show photos, get the memorabilia around the house to really establish the type of person these people were and what the true loss was.
That's correct. So basically, in our world, 1% of cases go to trial, but the story, might get lost. When they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? A video done properly is worth millions. What I've seen with you guys is beyond the videos, beyond the great how you guys put the story together, like any director would, to get the message across. That's where you guys are super gifted at. Is that anybody can shoot videos, but the way you guys know how to direct it properly in order to get across either a client's, a patient's pain, their loss, maybe a wrongful death case, maybe a paraplegic. The work that I've seen you guys done is stellar. Then you guys upped your game and got into forensic animations. I mean, I'm telling you, this is years ago, and you guys were the first ones I've seen. And as a doctor, it blew me away. Because how do you get the anatomy across to a layman person sitting in the jury or on the defense or an adjuster? Motion Lit really brought to life what is that condition, what is it caused by, and what is it to fix it or treat it. Whether you had a microdecompression surgery, whether you had a fusion, all these words get thrown around. But until you see it visually animated or shot in person, they're just words. It doesn't get across. It doesn't get across to the jury. These guys were the first guys to put these type of animations together. As a doctor, blew my mind, and it still does to this day, because it's invasive. That was one thing I was very impressed about. And also it's one thing to draw up how the accident happens, but again, you guys were the first that I see the animations, how semi trucks runs over a motorcycle, and you see the guy tumbling under the tires. That visual effect, it is phenomenal. You bring the pain, you bring really what happened. So maybe the other side doesn't try to trick you with just words. It wasn't that serious. The guy got run over by a big rig. What's the big deal, right? But you see somebody going under tires, and you visually can feel that person's pain. I think you guys are irreplaceable, highly needed in the field, especially in the medicine side, because these are just words. And you guys told me you guys just shot a rhizotomy the other day, and great. What's a rhizotomy? 9 out of 10 people don't know what a rhizotomy is. And they're like, oh, okay, it's no big deal. It's just pain management. Well, no, it is a big deal because you're burning the medial branch nerve. And it is invasive and it hurts. And people just don't know that. So they undervalue what a patient, a client is going through. So I'm telling you, my advice is I've been on a lot of cases that you guys have done amazing work with the experts, the animations, the accident recon, the doctor's interviews, the ortho, the neurosurgeons, you name it. It really brought the case home. And I tell my viewers, the lawyers, the doctors, um, this is a tool that we take really for granted and should be used in a lot of cases because you send a demand out. I promise you, the other side, it's just words to them as well. So that's incredible, and thank you guys for doing that stuff.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nick.
Of that, uh, every bit of this is so much about education. When we're presenting these cases in front of a jury or in front of the opposing parties, the insurance adjusters, so much of it is about the striking that nerve, the emotional damages. And like Vach said earlier, in a settlement video, it's very much about, a lot of times we've done a case for Gary Dordick of a few years back, that was a quadriplegic case, huge landmark verdict, $125 million verdict. And that case involved a T-bone, and he suffered a spine severing of the spine, and as a result, he was a quadriplegic for the rest of his life due to a drunk driver. But again, so in that case, in a way, the injuries are obvious. You could see it very clearly, and our day in a life video helped. The settlement video helped talk about, communicate the impact it had not only on the plaintiff but on the community, his children, his wife, his career, his job, on so many levels. But on those cases that are not so clear, whether it's a brain injury or sometimes even soft tissue damage, where it's, we're talking about pain, well, how do we show that in a video, or even on the witness stand? It's really hard unless you have a doctor to come up on the stand to testify that pain, that loss, or show models of, what it is. But also, here's where video is also, I would say, as important, to show the effects of the, and the effects and the comparison of the person. For example, it may be that that person's demeanor has changed, the personality has changed, but we don't know that unless we meet the wife who says, you know what, I have intimacy anymore, with my spouse because all he could think about is his pain, So we really get in there and get intimate with the family, and be, we get critical and we get analytical, and we pull out this information that otherwise would be trapped in a document somewhere in a report.
And that is the difference between the directors, a Scorsese or somebody else, right? It's you got to get the emotions and the life, how it's affecting. And look, there's other companies that do the videography and so on and so on. What sets you guys apart is you bring the story to life, and it's not mechanical, recording. Like this is mechanical. You and I just sitting here and talking, and we're just just talking. But to get the emotions out truly on tape, truly on audio, and get it across, first you have to ask the right questions in the right settings, and be a little bit of a detective. And maybe they don't even want to talk about it. Maybe it's so hurtful, but you guys have a craft. You guys have perfected it, and this field has grown, which you mentioned. A friend of mine, a very nice gentleman. These big wonderful trial lawyers, and I think you guys are a big attribute, even though they're wonderful trial lawyers, to their success. Because what they can't communicate, you make sure you communicate for them. And this is what you guys offer, and I think it's not enough used. I think cases would be a lot more simpler, a lot more, because what is it? You send a demand in, it's all questions. Oh, we don't believe this, we don't believe that, we don't believe this. I mean, you go back and forth till what? Okay, maybe we do, maybe we don't. Here's a good settlement or here's a bad settlement. But this tool makes something subjective very objective. And you brought traumatic brain injury, which I always say, it starts out subjective, and it's our job as good clinicians to make it objective. And I think you guys are a big part of that. And to the people listening out there, their website will be on the link below. Look up MotionLit. These brothers are for 2 decades or over 2 decades have brought wonderful things to this field for your cases and for your clients.
You know, uh, it's interesting how they and I appreciate. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here, Dr. Nick,
Thank you.
and it's so important, the job that expert witnesses, doctors, surgeons, and pain management specialists, neuropsychologists. I mean, lawyers need experts in so many different facets of a case. From uh, occupational to, so actually starting with medical. The surgeries. Uh, we don't understand what a you know arthroscopy or a let's say cervical discectomy is. As a jury,
Sure.
we don't necessarily understand what that means, but we need a doctor to get on the stand to tell us what that is, so that they simplify it and we turn it into a digestible understanding of what it is. Um, and with that comes the pairing with a visual, a demonstrative, that shows the whether in an animation. You were mentioning animations earlier, and I think there's a in
Especially
this
nowadays.
education
Yeah.
of liability, of the damages, the loss, and the establish who they were, and loss of consortium, and you know in all of these different facets, there's ways you can use um,
The visual
the
tools.
visuals
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
in each of those categories.
So we got the accident recon animation. We got the anatomy visual animations. We got the day in the life where they go in with the families or the friends or the people around that were affected by the accident or loss. And am I missing anything else?
The settlement videos
And settlement videos.
for pre-lit and during mediation or demand, that's a good pairing with a demand package as well.
Tell me what is the settlement?
The settlement video is what I was talking about earlier, where we do the day in the life video,
Right.
and then we also do the family interviews or the interviews with the various different experts,
Got it.
and put them on film, and put together a 5 to 10 minute video package, uh, where it's essentially their case brief on video. Like, we call it, sometimes we say video brief. It's all their points, it's their causation, it's their theories on liability. It's a highlight of the case, an overview of the case before it goes to trial,
Wonderful.
in an effort to settle.
Wonderful.
And if they can't settle, then we repurpose some of the footage for trial, obviously. But now more than ever, just to kind of continue with what Vaya was saying, um, now more than ever, the jurors expect these visuals, and they expect it fast and effective.
Sure, they're on social media all day.
Yeah,
They wanna see
exactly.
it.
All day
Yeah,
long. It's
yeah.
like for them,
Everybody's got
they're so used
ADHD.
to-
I'm guilty as charged. Yes, I want to see it. I don't want to hear it. Absolutely.
we did the first ever jury tablet trial, and where this was with Jeannie Harrison, and in Judge Linfield's courtroom, where we displayed the evidence on iPads. We handed to jurors iPads,
Oh,
you know,
wow.
like tablets, and and our trial technician was there, basically displaying the evidence as the trial was going, and it would broadcast to the iPads, and the jurors were glued to this thing. I mean, they thanked us at the end for offering this, because you know you have an expert on the stand, and I've seen jurors doze off and start falling asleep, but when you bring in this element of visual, it keeps them attentive, it keeps them awake. It's so important.
Wonderful.
And so um, with these videos over the years, we of course introduced settlement videos into the industry, um, and we started to slowly get into, we heard about the accident. Well, wouldn't it be great to create an animation reconstruction of the accident scene? And that's how we got into accidents and animations. And then we get into, so then we do the reconstruction animation. We show how the accident occurs, and then we get into the mechanics of how the injury occurs. We started to slowly hire on certified medical illustrators, and medical professionals who help us read through some of the op reports and the medical reports, create medical summaries to um, to break down exactly what would happen with the injury, and we accurately show, based on doctor records, and medical records, we accurately show how the injury occurs and the mechanics of how it happens. Um, and then
It helps orient the viewers, the jury, or even in mediation stages. It helps orient people on the back end of what happened. How did this happen? If it's a brain hemorrhaging, how does a rear end truck accident lead to a brain hemorrhaging?
Absolutely.
We
You gotta
don't.
do the causation. Sure.
The doctors explain it. The animation shows it,
That's right.
and it's a perfect pairing, and it helps validate the doctor's argument, the doctor's testimony.
Wonderful. Well, guys, thank you for being on our show today. Vahe and Vache, Motion Lit. Look them up, retain them. They're excellent. And we will see you guys next time on with other guests. Have a great day. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Bye bye.
To learn more about MotionLit, you can visit motionlit.com. Until next time.
Hi everyone, I'm Danae Jones, your local representative for Global Financial Partners, the one-stop shop for all your funding needs. I'm excited to connect with you today and pleased to always support the incredible work you all do in the personal injury space. I'm also proud to share that Global Financial Partners sponsors PI Today podcast, helping bring valuable insights and medical education to our community. And don't forget to like, comment, follow, subscribe, and share this episode. See you all next time.